Alright my friends, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a fresh episode of our Planet Zoo series, Jamii Conservation Park. You will find the last episode linked above, my friends. Feel free to go and check that one out before you get cracking with this one. Now today's episode is a little bit different. For those that know, I've been live streaming the series over the last week or so. So you've been sort of getting sneak peeks at what to expect in today's episode. But we are still going to put this together exactly the same way that we usually would. The way that this series is going to work going forward is that I'm obviously going to do the regular episodes on either the Thursday or the Sunday, but during the course of the week I will be live streaming the build part of this series. A lot of the reason for this is loads of people have been asking to see a bit more of the build, see how things are put together, and so I've been doing these 2-3 hour streams showing you sort of how things go together. We've been having a lot of fun during the streams as well. You know, we've been having a good chat and whatnot, and having a right laugh whilst doing it as well. And so yeah, I think that's how I'm going to do it going forward. I think I'm going to put these episodes together so you can see everything in its sort of like final, you know, resting place. You can see everything all finished off, because there's bits in the live stream you haven't got to see that you're going to see in today's episode as well. If you're interested in rewatching the live streams back, they're linked above now. I'll link the playlist. There were 4 live streams that went out, and also, just as a little side note and a little footnote, baby Emily is now here. My daughter was born on the 6th of July, ladies and gents. Some of you may have seen it on the community post, but for those that didn't see it, there's the announcement. She is a beautiful little girl, very content, and yeah, it's one of the reasons why I am live streaming as well, because it makes my life a little bit easier. But let's get into the nuts and bolts of today's episode, shall we? Now, it's going to be slightly different today's episode. You will remember last time out, I did give you, you know, your option of move, you know, do you want to move forward? I did give you your option of squares, but I also gave you the option of potentially unlocking these 5 squares here. Now, the people that have been watching the live stream, you know exactly what we're going to be doing. You've seen what's been going on during the course of the live stream, but for those that don't, I'm going to treat you, you know, like you've not seen it, and I'm going to explain all basically on how it's going to happen. Now, based on what people have been saying and based on the comments, I am going to be taking away those 5 squares, but we're going to go through the comments like we always would so that you guys can see exactly what's been said, and then I'm going to explain to you how I go about removing the 5 squares and, you know, how we move forward or stay put with time and all that sort of stuff. There are going to be some really cool suggestions as well from the comments, and it is going to change the way that the series is put together going forward as well, but it's got its own section, and we will come to that later in today's episode. So let's crack on, shall we, with our comments and our feedback. And we're going to start with one that's coming from Alexis Doris this time around. I'm going to leave it on pause, ladies and gents, just so you know, because we are obviously going to be getting into some building today, and I'm going to explain why it's on pause once I've read the comments as well. But Alexis Doris left a comment saying, I agree with both Sand and Nightclive's points. This is based on, you know, the previous episode. Some big stuff was said by Nightclive and Sander that really made us think about unlocking these 5 squares. I feel that like we've slowed down a bit, just plucking out the little maintenance squares week to week. And even though I love seeing buildings and infrastructure for realism aspect, I can understand why others don't. I do think knocking out the remaining squares between the parks will open us up to going forward. They're small squares to begin with, and it's not a huge space for 5 whole squares to have to go through individually. I think it's more important to have cohesive zoo than it is to get worried and competitive over certain squares, especially the smaller rectangles. And yeah, you know, Alexis has made a very, very good point there. You know, they're making the point that get these squares done, we can join the 2 parts of the zoo up. It becomes one big cohesive, you know, unit and facility, and it will make life a lot easier, especially for our staff, because at the minute our staff are having to walk all the way around just to go and you know, maintain stuff over in this section of the zoo. So it's a really good point there from Alexis Doris. Next up, Berenzine has left a comment. I'd say get 7 to 11 opened. I believe it is these squares here, the ones that Berenzine's mentioning. I think may have even mentioned an additional one as well, and get cracking on some amazing stuff. The part of this series I've loved the most so far has been the story that's been sourced from all the amazing feedback in the comments. It feels like that's come to a halt a bit recently. I think joining the two zoos together and pressing on will help with that. I've noticed I found it hard to really incorporate some story elements into my own comments recently. Also have a maybe slightly controversial opinion, and that is that it might be time to clean up the list of things that you've been asked for a bit. Now, the reason I'm saying that is that some things that have been asked for such a long time ago that they maybe don't fit in the current picture of the zoo anymore. I wouldn't mind things that have been on the back burner for a while to be thrown out in favour of new ideas. I know you view this as a community build, but I'd be kind of excited about you curating the list and cleaning it up the way you see fit. That being said, I'm excited about a possible Lemur Island so close to the entrance. It reminds me of Artis, the zoo in Amsterdam. They have Lemur Island with bridge that allows guests to walk over the island with the lemurs. It looks a bit like the pond you've already made. The edges are super lush, so until you get onto the bridge you don't really see the lemurs. If you're interested, I'll send you some photo references in the Discord, just let me know. Berenzine did send me a link on the Discord that's actually been really helpful, and when we do eventually get round to that, that will be super. And just to get to a little bit of a JCP story, the Komodo dragon breeding program has been a massive success. The numbers of baby Komodo dragons have exceeded expectations. We're also thrilled to see the new nursery in action. So thrilled it's been decided we'll let the original Komodo pair stay in JCP indefinitely. This breeding program has been such a wonderful success. I can only hope more programs will follow. I love the little bit of narrative. I will be sure to add that little bit of narrative to the JCP story for sure. I am keeping a big list of all of the big major narrative for the story, and I guess when this series is coming to its crescendo, I will reveal that big story to all of you guys, but we are obviously nowhere near that. But thanks for your comment, Berenzine. Great comment, and you made a lot of sense in there. I think it definitely is time to go through that list and start curating a few bits and bobs out that don't really fit the project anymore. And plus, you are constantly getting new ideas in the comment section and during the live streams as well. I've noticed that people have really started churning out some great ideas, and so they obviously have to be taken into consideration as well. Luke Hadley gets in next with a nice short and sweet comment. I agree with them. Unlock those zones so you can go and be creative for us. Absolutely love that. Sometimes your comments don't have to be massive. Just let me know what you think of the suggestions that have been put forward. Sand and Elon, thanks for this episode. This was exactly how I meant my suggestion. It looks like almost everyone agrees on unlocking the 5 squares. I believe you already had an idea for Croc Theatre. Not a fan, but the majority is. The Croc Theatre wasn't going to be here, just so you know, Sander, and it's probably going to be more of an amphitheatre now that's going to serve multiple purposes rather than just the crocs. You weren't the only person who didn't like the idea of that, so we're going to do something slightly different now. And he continues to say, and the croc pool. It would be a relief for the future nursery as well. I wouldn't make a big plaza around the checkpoint. I feel the entrance is a big plaza close by, as for the old park, so no need for that. I don't think any other animal would fit, so I would just build the checkpoint and the theatre and pool. Maybe it's time to use work zones. It could lower the feeding and cleaning time. Keep up the goody work. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to look into staff work zones soon. Maybe that's something we can discuss when we get to the live section of today's episode, actually. Jareth Nader has got in touch, and he left 2 comments, did Jareth. And I've just put them together. But honestly, I'm for unlocking more than 1 square at a time and using the squares for planning more for planning than restricting. I'm all for the idea of unlocking zones for building in. It just makes sense sometimes. Some builds just take up more than 1 square, so yeah, grab them all, I say. Also, in unlocking zones as opposed to all individual squares. If you have an idea or a community suggestion you want to get cracking on, maybe we can vote on which of those we want to see. So if you have 3 projects that cost 5 squares each with 3 different projects, we can do an A, B or C vote. Maybe the challenge of unlocking more than 1 square at a time is that you don't get to fast forward or something. Just an idea. At any rate, don't be afraid to make bigger or smaller decisions without weighing without us weighing in. As much as we are participating, we're not the ones at the PC. Excited to see more. Looking forward to the next episode. Now, that point that Jareth has made there at the end with the zoning is something that we're going to be talking about today in today's episode. Wasn't the only person to mention it, and it's one of the reasons why I am going to implement a very small change. And it's going to be a section in itself called Pick the Zone. I think that kind of leads you as to where it's going to go, but I will explain all when we get to that section. But like I say, Jareth wasn't the only person to make this suggestion, and so it is a change that for the foreseeable future I am going to implement, and I'm going to explain how it's going to work. Veganite's got in next. I completely agree with Nightclub and Sanders' comments, and we should totally unlock those 5 squares and move forth. Maybe unlock multiple squares at a time. I've seen other people commenting that we should unlock zones, which I'm completely for. If we were to unlock 1 square at a time, the series would take very long, at least 120 plus episodes. However, if we choose to unlock multiple squares, I think it should still be limited. We should unlock 8 small squares, 4 medium squares, or 1 large square separately. Since in each of these 3 measurements are the same amount of space, we're not limited to which size of square to open. For example, opening up 4 small squares and 2 medium squares is the same as opening up 4 medium squares or 8 small squares. Sorry if it's a bit confusing. We could also just go with Jareth Nater's comment with zones planned out, and we vote on which one. Yeah, so another really, really good suggestion based on the zones idea from Veganitis there. You know, they're basically making the suggestion that rather than, you know, as we have been doing, just unlocking 1 square, I basically sit here and say where I think projects are going to fit in. I give you an option of zones and you pick those zones. So it's a really, really cool suggestion, and like I say, we are going to be getting to a brand new section of the episode. That's probably going to be something that rolls on week, and I'm going to explain all. Primal Gamer, next comment. I agree with the 5 squares being unlocked. Also, I agree we definitely need more outdoor habitats for animals to live in. The houses are cool, but if they were spaced out, it definitely would make it feel more like a zoo and be way more realistic. Now, personally, I think the buildings are spaced out all right, based on, you know, if you're actually thinking about the narrative of the zoo based on the way it came alive, the buildings are actually spaced out fine. You know, this part here was always going to be building heavy because it's reptiles, but yeah, you know, like we've got the entrance and whatnot over here, but I do feel like it's really going to open up as we move on. But yeah, it's a fair comment. I totally understand where you're coming from, Primal. Next comment, Sonia Horn, another short and sweet one. Jamii Conservation Park, with mass excitement there with the 3 exclamation marks. Unlock the 5 squares. So another person who really wants these 5 squares to be unlocked. I'm going to do the next comment, but the name is Faineral. I know that you've been in the live stream a lot, Faineral. And so yeah, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. If I'm not, please let me know how to say it, because I hate getting people's names wrong. I'm new to this channel and project. I recently subscribed since I think you have a great idea in this and love the things I've seen from you so far. Go ahead and unlock those 5 squares, catch up on what was missed to go forward from there. I do have a suggestion further on for unlocking. How about being able to unlock an extra square if an episode has reached X amount of viewers? That would at least make me spread your videos further for more viewers, and probably more would do that. What the aim of viewers should be is up to you. This can also be increased as the viewers go higher. It is an interesting way of looking at it, that we could, you know, unlock a bonus square as well as the one that we've already done if certain videos hit a certain amount of views. I would actually go with like targets rather than view targets though, because obviously, you know, views are, you know, not always by subscribers. Like targets is maybe something that I could start setting at the, you know, beginning of each episode. I could say, you know, if we hit 50 likes, you get to unlock a special square as well, and I'll give you maybe like 1 or 2 options of which square you'd like unlocked. You know, maybe that is something we could do. I do quite like that. Basically, I think a lot of people are trying to put ideas in place because they take a look at this map and they realise there's so many squares that yes, the series could end up going on for a long, long time, and you know, people want to see, you know, this project really push forward, but they also want to see what else I can do with the game, and I do completely understand that. And we come to our last comment for this week, and it comes in from Hayley McKinnon. And Haley has said, hi there, I took a break from Planet Zoo and have started to get back into the game. I finally caught up on this series. First things first, absolutely love this series and it looks great so far. I really like the idea of the zones instead of the squares. I feel this will open up a lot more opportunity for the zoo and add more interest to each episode. I would love to see a tropical house with animals like lemurs, jaguars, orangutans. Just as a side note, Haley, we have actually got that in place and planned, and we've just got to get it done when we get the appropriate square. And another thing I would love to see in this zoo is a nocturnal house with animals like anteaters, pangolin, and some of the exhibit animals. I feel like having a different area for the night animals will make more sense than adding them into the tropical house. Yep, I do totally agree with that. When I think of a tropical house, I think it has to be open, airy, and full of greenery rather than a dark, closed space. Looking forward to the rest of the series. And obviously, Haley brings up again the zoning idea, but some really valid points where the tropical house and potential nocturnal house are concerned as well. Now, with all the comments read, I can now touch on what's going to happen, and I think you all know what's going to happen. These 5 squares are going to disappear. I don't know if we're going to do it right now. I might just take you into the build section rather than unlocking them now like I usually would. But yeah, these 5 squares here are going to disappear. I'm going to start doing it while I'm talking, basically. But yeah, these are going to disappear, ladies and gents. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to unlock these 5 squares, but we're not going to be moving forward in time. The reason why I decided not to move forward in time is that we have more than enough money. We have so much money, and especially once we unlock this, we get a bit more money. And so, yeah, I just think that, we can do this without moving forward, and we can just see how far the money gets us at the minute. This is a very, very special one-off treat for us all. You have to remember that. So, we're just going to crack on, I think, and see where this gets us. So there you go. That's the area unlocked, and this is basically the area we're going to be playing with in today's episode, essentially. Now, I am just going to quickly cover the plan of action, and then for those that have been watching the live stream, you know what's happened. But for those that haven't watched the live streams and you're waiting to see the build section, the plan of action is to maybe get this baby croc exhibit done here. An animal is going to go in here. I've given it away in the comment section, but I'm still going to keep it as a bit of a surprise when we get to the build section. Yeah, but our first mammal is going to go here. We're actually going to join these 2 parts of the zoo up. We're going to have a small sort of area here, and there's going to be a space here left, ladies and gents, for you guys to get your ideas in, basically. But we're going to talk about that towards the end of today's episode. But yeah, that's the plan of action. Now, I was initially going to split this build into parts, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to take you straight over to the build section now and show you what I've achieved. Okay, my friends, we are back and we are in the build section, and you might be thinking to yourself, Dan, why are we starting here at the entrance? I'm trying to keep it as a surprise for you guys, okay? Obviously you've seen the thumbnail, so you know part of what's to be expected in today's episode. We have joined the 2 parts of the zoo up. We've introduced a brand new animal. We have our baby croc exhibit. I am very excited to show you what I've been doing. Now, majority of it, like I say, has been seen on the live stream, but a lot of those little touches weren't seen. I did leave some for the imagination, basically, for people to start imagining how this could finish out. But we're going to just walk around this away, because this is quite an important part of the zoo now. So yeah, this is obviously our wild pond. As we all know, this was a sort of work in progress, it has to be said. I'm just going to leave this on pause, ladies and gents, for today's episode, but I am thinking going forward that when I do this part, I am going to just, press play. We won't save it or anything after we've finished, just so we don't take any advantage of the money. But yeah, just so you can see a bit more action in the game, I am thinking of doing that maybe from future episodes. But yeah, the pond is really getting there now. We've obviously, because we've unlocked these 5 squares over here, you can see we've been able to really finish the garden off. We've managed to put a piece of path, so it really is a lovely walkthrough exhibit. We do have some peacocks in here as well. I've just realised this piece of fence isn't finished, so I'm going to have to go away and just finish that. I need to do the little top and the middle section of it. But yeah, if we was to walk through now, if you wanted to go on a little walk through the wild gardens, you would just go through this way, around here, And it's very, very pretty. It really, really is. We've got 3 peacocks living in here, 2 males and a female. They are the offspring of Mr. Peabody and his girlfriend, as you can see. They're chilling in here. I have put some information in for the peacocks. We don't really have a lot of this around the zoo, considering that we've already got peacocks. And if you're eagle-eyed and you look into the distance, you are going to see the animal that we're going to be coming to very, very shortly, ladies and gents. But yeah, you carry on walking around. I've put some beehives in again over here, and I'm going to leave this pretty empty, this section here. We're going to have the feeder for our peacocks, and this is where they're going to be able to have a little lay down and whatnot. But I do obviously need to finish this off. I've got this section here to finish. I think I'm just going to go with some really lovely wild bushes just to separate this part from this part without having to use a fence. I've used a fence here, I think for obvious reasons, but yeah, if we was to come through your garden, you come to this area. Now, you actually have to step down. There's a big difference in the terrain here, and I wanted to put some steps in, and I want to continue these steps around here as well. So I'm going to put the step over here and have it come round, just because I think that difference in terrain really makes all the difference. It really makes this work lovely. So yeah, you have to, got a little step down there, and then you're met with this area here. It is still a work in progress. Obviously, we have stuff over here that isn't finished, but we are slowly getting there, and you are met with this section here. Now, if you was to walk this way, this is the way into the reptile area. Now, many people have called it the Reptarium, whether they've known it or not. Loads of people have called it the Reptarium, so I have decided to call that area the Reptarium, and you're going to see it in all of its glory. We've got a lovely raised bed over here, and I've gone with some really big high bushes, really because from guest view I want to keep stuff a surprise, and I think I have managed to be able to do that, with the lush the lush greenery and whatnot that I've decided to use. And yeah, you carry on walking this way, ladies and gents, and this is it. This is the split between the two zoos. Now, it isn't the traditional checkpoint we were all potentially thinking about. I am going to be honest there. But the way I was thinking, I've basically been really chewing the fat on this one, and I've been beating myself up. I've been doing a lot of reading because I wanted to see if the checkpoint thing was, a legitimate idea that we could use, where you could just buy a day pass for one part of the zoo or the other. And, some places do it, but 90% of these zoos would not have that. You would just buy a day pass for the zoo, and this would just be an area where, old meets new, or zoo meets reptile house. And so I've just decided to do this instead of a checkpoint. It's all part of one big project now, and I just feel like it fits better like this. Brooklyn Zoo is a really good example that has 4 entrances, but at every entrance you pay for the whole zoo. You don't really pay for just an experience to go to one little bit. So that's basically what I've done, ladies and gents. Do let me know what you think, if you would prefer sort of like a checkpoint or whatnot. Loads of people got ideas in. I feel like this was the best idea that I got. This is loosely based on something someone sent. It isn't quite finished. I still think that we could probably put a panel in the middle and have a design, at the top to, give it a little bit more height and a little bit more legs. But this is what I've made, and this is what I'm going with for now. I'm going to show you the exhibit to our left in a moment, but I kind of want to do that in a different way. I want you to be able to experience the Reptarium first. So yeah, this is the idea I've come up with basically, and yeah, this is the the archway that, like I say, lets new meet old, or old meets new, however you want to look at it. But yeah, I've put the MacArthur Family Foundation. Someone said in the live stream that the MacArthur family should potentially have like a GoFundMe or a charity or whatnot that people can donate to help support the animals and help them doing their job. Like I say, the Reptarium, that's what this area is called now, because so many people have been saying that. It's unreal. And yeah, we carry on walking through into the Reptarium, ladies and gents. And so this is sort of like where old meets new is right at this point here. Now, I've obviously gone with some lush greenery, either side at the beginning. This here is a new staff entry point to the back lot area, which I will show you in a moment when I show you the animal to our left. But yeah, you carry on walking around here, and the majority of this area is done. It's really, really done and dusted. But this is the brand new baby croc exhibit, ladies and gents. This is what we're playing with. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we come up with. Now, if you're wondering about this at the top, this is a net to stop predatory birds picking off our baby crocs. This was a really good point put into me by Alexis Doris. I think it was on the comment section of one of the live streams. And I took note, Alexis, just so you know. And I've put it in. It actually looks quite cool up there. I don't mind it at all. I thought it was going to be a bit invasive, but it is realistic. It is something that, as a project like that would think to look at. So I've gone with it. But let's take a look at it from this angle, because this is probably the best angle to look at it from. But yeah, you've got your notice board here, bit of education with regards to your crocodiles, and no feed me. And then I've put these little bars around the bottom so people don't throw stuff in or feed the animals or whatnot. And then you've got this glass section at the front, and yeah, we've made like a little fake beach up the top. This is basically where they feed and they can rest and whatnot. There is a ramp at the back, but that is really mainly for our zookeepers to be able to get up and do all the cleaning. And then, as you can see, they've got a really, really lush pond. For baby crocs, they would really overdo it with all of the greenery and the planting and whatnot. There's a lovely little waterfall at the back, which you'll see in action during the live section, because I will be sure to show you everything in action when we get to that part of today's episode. And then, yeah, if you come back here, you will see there's a little stage, and this is where our zookeepers would go to give talks on the crocs. People would all gather at the front or in the seating area of the restaurant to listen to a good, amazing talk on the crocodiles and stuff. And like I say, you've got obviously your netting at the top. The way we've done it is we've just taken this out the side of the building to make all this work, and the fence panel's gone up there, and the rest, they're just sort of obviously connected to the building there, which is a pretty realistic way of doing it. This is the entrance to the baby croc exhibit, and I just kind of want to show you how we've made this work. So initially there used to be the toilet here. We've just joined it onto the side of this reptile house, and I've decided this reptile house here is going to be called John McLaughlin's Monitor Manor. John McLaughlin was kind enough to donate some money in the super chat the other day. Is obviously a real avid fan of the series, comments a lot, really puts in some great feedback, and I've been thinking for a while, who should we name this one after, as obviously we've got Jareth's reptile centre over here. This one's going to be John's Monitor Manor, because obviously we have the monitor, Nile monitor, and we've got the Komodos in here, and this is going to be John's. I'm going to have to get those nameplates sorted out, I think. Maybe we can do those in the next live stream or something, but that is the decision I've made. John, I hope you don't mind me naming this building after you, buddy, but I feel like you more than deserve it. So yeah, that's what we've done there. We just added it onto the side, and then we go through the door, and this is the backstage area, basically. I do need to put some lights in here for our staff, but essentially it's set up a bit like the nursery, where obviously you've got your whiteboard here, and there's some crates to move the animals over here. I am going to probably put some racking in here as well, maybe a little tray, a little dolly tray that food and that could be put on when they're getting ready to be fed, and stuff like that, because this is going to be for educational purposes as well. Obviously I've done all the bits and bobs, all your fire extinguishers and all that. I do need to go around the rest of the buildings and sort all those out, because I've got a new fire extinguisher that is far nicer than the ones I was originally using that I made. And then if we go through the door here, this is just the indoor area to the croc exhibit. I had to leave this piece open. I didn't want to. I wanted to have this all closed off, because I wanted the crocs to use the water a bit more, because they aren't using the water as much as I would like. But we have to do this because of our staff being able to get up here and clean. But yeah, that's our staff entry into the exhibit, and then up here is basically some living quarters during the evening. You can see I've continued on that light design at the top, but we've also got a heat lamp over the back as well. And yeah, that's their habitat out there. So that is the baby croc exhibit. I hope I've kind of covered that the best way possible, ladies and gents, and I hope you like the way that you know, we've done that. Obviously we've just planted some trees over here. As you can see, it's one continuous walk through now, and the area is looking really nice. I really love it. So if we was to work our way back into the zoo, so I can show you some of the other additions that we've made, you would come back this way. As you can see, I've carried on the Jamii, the Makaza Family Foundation. On this side, for now, I've just put Jamii. We just needed to put something over here. I've put Jamii, but if you can think of something else that you think would, you know, look better there, I don't know, like Into the Wild, or I don't know, the zoo, or whatever. Leave your suggestions in the comments below, and the best one I will think about putting up there, ladies and gents. Like I say, this isn't finished, this little arch, by the way. I do still think that maybe if we could put a board over the bit in the middle, we could go with a design on the top, a bit like the piece that someone sent. It was these lovely sort of like shards of glass that went in a curved fashion, and I tried to do that, but obviously we haven't got any coloured glass in the game, and I think it would have looked better if it was coloured rather than the clear glass that we've got. So yeah, if anyone's got any ideas, do let me know. So we'll work our way back this way, and I'm going to take you the long way round because I want you to experience the walk as if you were in the zoo, basically. So this would carry on from the flamingos here. I haven't done this. I'm doing this in the next live stream. Just going to let you know, because that's basically what's been requested, is that I do it in the live stream. So that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, we walk up here, ladies and gentlemen. You can go obviously through the gardens if you wish, but if you just want to see the animals, you carry on this way. As you can see, it's really nice and lush, and you can imagine when all this is filled in, this is going to be really nice. You're going to feel like you're really in the wild here. You walk up this way. I will cover the backstage area in a moment, but people are not here to see that. And then, yeah, you come here and you are greeted with all of this. And we have put in the camels, ladies and gents, as our first mammal in the zoo. Lots of people were saying they thought that, you know, this was the perfect space for a hooved animal. And in the live stream, people decided, you know, that the camels should go in here. They asked what animals were on the list, and the camels were. And so that's what we've done. And we've carried on this these sort of information boards, because these are the ones that the kids are going to follow. Obviously, we've got this bit here. I think it was John McLaughlin actually made the suggestion that potentially we do this colour for mammals, pink for birds, and we do green for lizards, which I'm not opposed to. I quite like that. Yeah, and people got to learn in the live stream as well. This represents their status in the wild. People absolutely love that, and so yeah, it's just something to think about. But yeah, we've got our information board here, and then over here we've got another one, and it's just how do you measure up. Now, you would ideally see this with giraffes and stuff, but someone said that it might fit with the camel to do this, and so it's exactly what I've done. So yeah, we had this little area here that was just a bit of dead space basically, and yeah, this fits in absolutely perfect in that bit of space, and I think I've worked it in well, because it is quite a big intrusive board, but by putting this tree at the back and a lovely big bush to the side of it, we have disguised it really well, especially if you look at it from this angle. You barely know it's there. So yeah, done a pretty good job disguising that. And then yeah, we get to take a look at the enclosure, ladies and gents. So this is the camels enclosure, the camel house. We may, in the live section of today's episode, get another female, because someone did say in the live section we've got more than enough space really for another female. And obviously they do live in quite big groups, up to sort of like 10 or 11. So we've got a pair that we're hoping are going to breed, but yeah, maybe we could add another female. But let's just take a look at this in a bit more detail, shall we? So I was doing a lot of reading about camel exhibits, and one of the big things that zoos do is they will have the fence and they will drop this down a little and then they will rock it up. Camels' hooves are quite soft when it comes to sharp rocks and stuff. They won't climb them, and so zoos know that, and they put these sort of protective wall barriers in place. Looks a bit more natural, and yeah, works really nice. And then what I've done is I've just kind of planted up this corner and along here, because we were trying to disguise obviously the reptile sanctuary over there. We didn't want to be seeing the net and whatnot from here, so yeah, I've disguised all of that. And then yeah, just, you know, really sort of tried to design this so it looks a bit like the plains of Mongolia, that sort of stuff. Didn't want to go with a desert exhibit, but obviously we have had added, you know, some dirt and sand and whatnot in all of the crevices at the front. few little rocks and some bushes. We're a bit low key really. And then what we have done is we've hidden the scratch post in this sort of like log. They would scratch on trees and whatnot, so yeah, we decided to add that to just try and disguise it and add a bit of character to the exhibit. Food's over here. We built a custom built sort of like water trough over here, which works really well. Got food off of the stable, and then the stable is really the really the crowning glory, in my opinion, to this exhibit. It's really nice and done really well. You know, we initially tried to do it as a sort of like a normal sort of barn, but we ended up going with a different pitched roof design. I've now done the doors. I hadn't done those in the live stream, but they're all done now. It's all finished off and looking really good. This is sort of like a this is just a small sort of paddock to separate the animals if we ever need to. So say for instance that the female had a young calf, and you know, they could separate her to go in here. She would have this side of the stable, the other camels would have the other side. It is separated. I do need to put a little door in here for our staff, but as you can see, it is separated from the other side. Just got some fake sort of like hay feeders here. And yeah, we put cameras up inside so the zookeepers can keep an eye on the animals, which is really cool. And then yeah, the doors were a bit of a pain, but we've done them on this like sort of like slide pulley system, which is something that a lot of zoos would actually use. And so yeah, that's sort of how it all works, ladies and gents. That is the stable. And then if I bring you to the backstage area, because a lot of work's been done back here as well. We've obviously got a service gate here for, you know, cars to be able to come in and out. It's one of the reasons why I've left this quite open here, is obviously if we ever needed the car, you know, to take a trailer, it would be able to fit and go around there. I've left this wide enough that it would fit. It's as wide as this, believe it or not. I think it just looks a little less because of the plants and whatnot that are there. But yeah, we work our way around here, and as you can see, it's all looking pretty good. And you work your way around this way, and this is the new sort of path that brings you back here from the reptile area, basically. And yeah, it's all done. There's path that runs all the way around that building. Path runs up here, and as you can see, access gate for the camels there. And so if I zoom out and I show you, a hell of a lot of work was done over the course of those 4 live streams, and you know, between the last episode and this one, and I think we've done a pretty epic job, ladies and gents. I'm really happy with it, and you know, I'm really excited to see where the series is going to go, especially as we're about to jump into the brand new section of future episodes, and that is for you to pick a zone. Okay, my friends, so here we are. This is going to be a brand new section of every single episode, and this is the Pick the Zone section. So basically what we've been doing during the course of the series is, of course, deciding whether or not to move forward, you know, 5, 10, 15 years between episodes by picking a square. Now, there was lots of fine points made in the comment section last episode that maybe that's a bit of a slow way of doing it. We can't really, you know, do bigger projects. We can't move the series on the way we would like to if we're going to continue to unlock squares. So I've decided to make some changes based on what you guys have said. I do like the idea of, you know, there being like targets, so we can get a bonus, you know, square. And I think I'm going to introduce that from next episode. So I'm going to hold off on that this time. I'm just going to introduce you to the zone episode first. Now, the way this is going to work is that you will now be designated zones rather than squares. And what we mean by zones is that it will make up a number of squares. So, you know, for instance, this one, that could be a zone. And it will be highlighted. It will be given a letter, and you guys basically have to just decide in the comment section below which zone you would like to see unlocked. What I am going to do, though, is explain to you what the plan is for whatever zone, you know, is on offer. So then you can then make an educated decision on which one you would like to unlock. Now, something I have put in place, because we didn't move forward in time in today's episode, because I just felt like we had enough money and we didn't really need to. But just so we can do this, you know, for going forward with the zones, we are basically going to put in time jumps for the size of whatever the zone is. Zones will not be any bigger than 8 squares, I can tell you that much. So if a zone is made up of 1 to 4 squares, we're going to have a 5-year jump. If it's made up of 5 to 8 squares, there will be a 10-year jump. And that's basically how we're going to control time going forward, the money, and not cheating the system, essentially. So yeah, that's basically the plan of action going forward for the zones. Now, there's going to be 4 zones on offer for you this time around, ladies and gents. There might be more, there might be less in the future, but for today's episode, these are the 4 zones I'm going to put forward here. I think these are the smartest options that I could put forward because I know that we've got plans in place for each one of these zones and stuff we want to work on in each one of them. So first zone is this one here. You're going to see it on your screen highlighted in green, and it's zone A. And in zone A, the plan is that in the larger square, that's where the sort of lemur habitat is going to begin. We're probably going to be putting a lake in the 2 smaller squares because it's going to be very, close to this and very similar. Nice to be surrounded by water. There's probably going to be a lemur island on the lake, and we're going to, join it with ropes and vines and that sort of stuff so we can make sure that it's really, really active and the lemurs can get over there. And we'll probably do their hard shelter here. I am thinking that on the side we do like a little glass viewing area. I don't want the building to be one of those that's interactive with the guests anymore. I think we've got enough of that so far in the zoo, but yeah, that's going to be basically essentially the lake and lemur island and lemur exhibit in zone A. Then we've got zone B, which is just to the right hand side of it, and zone B is made up of 5 squares. So it would be a big 10-year jump. In zone B, I am basically thinking that we do guest services. We could get some of the function suite buildings put in. We could get an education building put in, and we could even get some backstage parking for our staff and for the people that are using the function suite. I think it's a really smart use of that space. We are moving the function suites over a bit because initially we were going to do them sort of in these squares, but I think with the lemur island now in zone A, it makes sense just to move them. So it would be a big area, it would be a big build that would be more to do with sort of like the backstage stuff. So, if it's not a popular choice, I understand, but it is stuff this zoo is going to need at some point. Next zone you're going to see is made up of 4 rectangles, and it's zone C. Now, what I'm thinking to do in here is potentially another small saltwater croc exhibit, a bit like Bindy's, so we can get a Mal saltwater croc in with a special name, and we can also start to get the working pieces in place for our potential amphitheatre for the reptiles and birds. Whether or not we're going to go too big with this, I'm not sure, but we could at least start getting the path and stuff like that in place and in working order, basically. And then you're going to see the last zone is zone D, and that's all the way over on the left hand side. Zone D is going to be the secondary nursery and potential research centre that's joined on the side. Obviously another one, it is a backstage building, but it is another, project that we've had in the pipeline and we need to get going. I haven't zoned the next 2 things I'm going to talk about, but obviously this big square we know is going to be the tropical house, which is one of the reasons why I think the lemurs here are really, really well placed. And then this little section here, I need ideas, basically, ladies and gents, on what to put there. Obviously, I know I've mentioned that we're probably going to be doing a saltwater croc exhibit potentially here or a bit further back because we need to be able to take the path this way with obviously the amphitheatre potentially being worked in here, but we do need an animal in here potentially, or if not an animal, we need something to be going in there. So yeah, do get your ideas down in the comment section below and let me know what you think, and do let me know what you think about doing it this way now. I think that we've kind of got to a point in the series where I think just moving forward and opening 1 square isn't enough. The projects are too big, and especially, the animals we're going to start introducing into the zoo are going to need more space. Obviously, I'm going to use your ideas and I'm going to basically put them on the map where I best see fit. And so you will get your, breakdown of what's going to be in that zone. So just to repeat, Zone A, lemur, lake, lemur island. Zone B, education, function suites, guest services. Zone C, amphitheatre and another saltwater croc exhibit. and Zone D, secondary reptile nursery, and a small research centre. So basically all you need to do, ladies and gents, is in that comment section below, let me know which zone you want us to unlock for next episode. And what I will be doing once again is streaming during the course of the week so you guys can see the build come together. I will let you get those comments in for probably 24 to 48 hours, and then I will crack on with the stream. But let's finish today's episode off with the live section. And so here we are, ladies and gents. Let's get cracking, shall we, with the live section of today's episode. First things first, before we do any animal management, I am going to just show you the animals that we've got and what we've been doing. Basically, you will see we did about £200,000 on this big, redevelopment of this area and this big addition to the zoo. It cost us a lot of money, but money well spent, I'm sure you will all agree. So here are our two camels. They are named, by the way, Humphrey and Sapphire, I believe. Yes, they were two most popular names put forward in the live stream, and so that's what they've been named. If you would like any of the animals in the zoo to be named after you, or you'd like them to have a special name, do feel free to leave those in the comment section below, ladies and gents. But also do come over and get involved in the live streams. You'll be able to really see a good insight in how this series is put together, in my opinion. And if we just go around here as well, you'll be able to see the baby croc exhibit as it works away. As you can see, that lovely fountain at the bottom, and yeah, it really is a lovely little exhibit. So yeah, we need to do a little bit of animal husbandry and all that good stuff, and we need to take a look at staff numbers as well. So let's just work our way through. We don't have to worry about the tortoises. Obviously, we've got our two camels there. We don't have to worry about the giant tortoises either. Majority of our gharials are now over in this baby croc exhibit. All of the females got moved over. We didn't quite have enough space to put the small males, so they are still over with the adults at the minute, but I am potentially thinking that if we do a secondary nursery, then we can build a room for baby crocs to go over there. If we're taking a look at the monsters, we need to move this guy on. Would appear we are now with a male and two females. I didn't realise that's what we had done, but yeah, let's move the gear monster off site. Now I know that I can highlight more than one species at a time, but this is just the way I like to do it. So let's move these guys. 7. So okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There must be one more. Yep, this guy at the bottom, because we only ever keep 5 on site. So let's move those off to the wild. 8 more conservation points. At the moment, I am just trading the animals away to the wild because we don't need the money. So yeah, I don't really see the point in trading them for money at this moment in time. I think that's all we really need to do, to be honest with you. You are going to notice Mr. Peabody is coming to the end of his cycle. He's not going to be with us for much longer, which is really sad to see. All of the Komodos have been moved to the nursery sites now. I'm not going to be breeding the Komodos at the moment, though, until all of these are adults and we decide what to do with them, because otherwise we'd be really short of space. The other thing I wanted to do, though, is I actually wanted to get another camel for this exhibit. I think that another female would be really cool. We've got the space, and yeah, it just makes more sense to get the numbers up. So what have we got available? Fertility's not good. Longevity and immunity not good. How long we got on these? 5 minutes and 6 minutes. That's not ideal, is it? So maybe we won't be getting another camel unless... No, it's the fertility. I can't have the fertility low if we're going to be starting a breeding program with the camels. So yeah, maybe we won't be doing that, because obviously that is a long time to have to wait. But it's pretty cool to have these animals in the zoo, it does have to be said. Now, one thing I do just want to run through with you guys is obviously staff numbers and all of that good stuff, and let you know where we're at. So we currently have five janitors. I'm not sure if that's enough. I am just going to get this training going. I'm not sure if that's enough because the zoo is getting quite large now. As far as zookeepers are concerned, we've got 2, 4, 7. One is dedicated to the Komodos and the nursery, so do keep that in mind. So just 6 are roaming around the zoo. Let's get the training going for you. And then as far as mechanics are concerned, we have 4 for the project. We're just going to get your training going. And then we've got 3 security guards. If you're worried about this, it's a building inside the toilet block, which I don't want to have to move, and I'm just dealing with it basically. So we've got 3 security guards. We'll get your training going. And then, yeah, we don't really need to worry about these guys at the bottom because they kind of pretty much service themselves, don't they, the people in the buildings. And then we've just got 2 vets. So based on those numbers and based on the size of the zoo, do let me know if you think we need any more. I would probably say we do need some more janitors. Based on the amount of rubbish there is in places. There's a piece of rubbish on the floor here. The bins are quite full up. Wherever you look, so yeah, that bin's quite full, yeah, so I would say maybe the janitors, we do need some, potentially, mechanics and stuff, but yeah, I'm just letting you know. And then I don't think there's actually too much to do. There wasn't a lot of stuff to really look at in this live section of today's episode, but yeah, obviously there's lots for you guys to think about between episodes. Let me know which zone you want to unlock. I'm just kind of taking you around and letting you have a little look while I'm talking now. But yeah, I think next live stream we're going to get the name plaque made for that. We'll get the name plaque made for this building over here as well. And yeah, we'll open up whichever zone you guys, see fit. Obviously, I did go through this on the map, but obviously it's nicer to look at it from this angle. But this space here, what should we do with it? What do you think would fit in here, ladies and gents? I would like to replicate this side as well, if I could. So do, just keep in mind there needs to be a little bit of a gap. As you can see, I've put this here, so there does need to be a little bit of a gap. But yeah, what do you think could go over there? Leave your suggestions, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm gonna jet. I think that's all I need to do. So just to repeat, what you need to do is in that comment section below, keep getting your ideas in, things you'd like to see, animals you want in the zoo. They're all going to keep going on the waiting list. I am gonna go over the list of things that we're waiting on and out a few suggestions if I don't think they really fit the project anymore. Start adding some of the newer ones to it, but also pick your zone, A, B, C or D, in the comment section below. Let me know which zone you would like us to unlock for next episode. Basically, we're probably going to be unlocking a zone every episode now, because I am going to be filling each zone during the course of live streams for you to come along and enjoy and watch. So the project is changing ever slightly because there is going to be a need to keep moving forward between episodes, in my opinion. But my friends, I am done and dusted for another episode of JCP. If you've enjoyed it, please feel free to drop it a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe. If you visit the description box, you'll find all that cool stuff like Discord, Patreon, socials. Please feel free to visit all that stuff. Come and give me a follow. And please get involved with the Discord, because we're building a fantastic community over there, and it's one of the great ways that you can share your ideas with me. I'm sure a lot of the people that watch this video can completely agree with that, because they are already involved. But until next time, my friends, you make sure you're staying extra, and I'll see you real soon. Oh, yeah.